Hey Hugo Reed. The nonfiction book this week is Geckos, Amazing Animals, and it is by Katie Riggs, and photos in this are amazing. Look at that. You can even see all the little buds on the tongue. That's crazy. So cool. Let's see what we can learn about geckos today. Look at that one. There's a gecko on the other side of the leaf, and it's like shooting up through the leaf, and you can see the outline of the gecko. I'll try to get it so it's closer on the pictures for you guys. Lizards called geckos live in warm places around the world. They're found on all continents except Antarctica. Some lizards hiss, but geckos make sounds such as chirping or barking. That'd be fun to look up on the internet, wouldn't it, to hear what they sound like. It says 8 kinds of geckos live on the island of Hawaii. This one. That one's kind of unusual colored. It almost looks see-through, doesn't it? It says some geckos lick water from their eyes to get moisture. Wow, aren't you glad you don't have to do that? You have a water bottle. Only 18 kinds of geckos have eyelids. Other geckos have clear coverings on their eyes. They lick their eyes to keep them clean. A gecko has a tail that can break off from the body. Sometimes a gecko will break off its tail to get away from predators. I bet you've seen that on some little lizards around school and around your houses and apartments. This shows a close-up of some skin. That's very magnified. Geckos can be as small as 0.6 inch, so that's a little bit more than a ½ inch. That's pretty tiny. Look at that. Can you imagine? I don't even know if we'd notice it. It would look almost like an ant, don't you think? Like a big ant, but still. Day geckos can be 10 inches long. The most colorful geckos are active in the daytime. Geckos have different markings on their skin, and they come in many colors. A gecko's small, rounded scales make its skin bumpy, which that's what that was showing. So that one is very colorful, isn't it? So 10 inches would be from about here to here. That's pretty big. I wonder where those live. Ooh, this is a tricky picture. You look at it while I read and see if you can see the gecko. Geckos have pads on the bottoms of their toes. The sticky pads help the geckos climb. Geckos can live in dry lands, rainy forests, and on mountains. Some geckos blend in with the sand, rocks, or trees around them. It says the mossy leaf-tailed geckos hide in plain sight. Okay, so I'll give you a hint. You can kind of start to see it because look for its tongue, first of all. That's the one color that's not on that branch or whatever they're on. So here's its tongue. Do you see its head? I see a leg and a leg, and here's its body. It is pretty hard to see, isn't it? It really camouflages. Amazing. Geckos eat insects and other small creatures. Larger geckos can eat small birds and reptiles. Geckos hunt for food in trees or on the ground. Some geckos eat fruit. This says leopard geckos catch crickets and other insects. And there he is. He's got a cricket, doesn't he? You can see the back end of the cricket he's eating. That skin looks sort of like the picture on that last one that gave the close-up of the skin, doesn't it? A female gecko lays 1 or 2 eggs in leaves and bark. The hatchlings grow up on their own. Geckos live by themselves for about 6 to 10 years. Some kinds of geckos can live for 20 years in the wild. That's a pretty long time to live in the wild. So there's a very small gecko with an egg. So they live by themselves. So it sounds like after the eggs are laid, the mothers leave them alone and they grow up on their own and they live by their own. on their own. Ooh, look at this one. See how its skin is starting to shed? So you can see like new skin down here, but old skin is coming off. And then you can kind of see the new skin. It's like it's cracking off. Geckos shed their skin every 2 to 4 weeks. Wow, that's a lot. They hide from predators like snakes and birds. They scream or chirp at other geckos that get too close. Geckos spend a lot of time hunting for food. Reptiles like geckos grow larger bodies by shedding their skin. I think we've talked about this at school before when we've read some of the books about reptiles. Just think if when you were growing, you had to grow new skin every time and your old skin would fall off. That's not how we grow, is it? Our skin grows with us. But when they grow, they have to grow a new skin. Pretty cool. You see that one? Most geckos look for food at night. These geckos rest during the day. Geckos warm their bodies in the sun. They move to the shade when it gets too hot. Even geckos that are active at night might warm up in the sun. So they might move to the sun. So geckos, if they're active at night, what's that called? Nocturnal, right? They're nocturnal. Doesn't say all of them are, but a lot of them are. And they're cold-blooded, so their temperature is whatever the air around them is. They can't keep their own body a different temperature. Like we have blood that's warm, and so it helps warm us up. So if they get too hot, they would move to the shade to get cooler, and if they get too cold, they move to the sun to heat them up. We do those things too, but we're still warm-blooded. Many people keep geckos as pets. Leopard geckos are popular pets. People who live in the warmest parts of the world may see wild geckos. It can be fun to search for these noisy lizards. Look at that picture. The little caption down here says, leaf-tailed geckos can spring from branch to branch, and that's what it's doing. It's jumping from one branch to another branch. Whoa! That is quite a photograph, isn't it? They caught it at just the right time. Do geckos bring good luck? People in Hawaii have believed this for a long time. They told a story about a gecko with a loud laugh that saved a king's daughter from danger. The king made the gecko guardian angel over all the Hawaiian islands. Hawaiians still welcome geckos into their houses for good luck. Another really good magnified picture, isn't it? And then here's some things you could take a screenshot of that if you want to read more, or websites to learn more about geckos. Hope you enjoyed the gecko book. I'll see you next week. Bye, everybody.